All right, let's dive into this Onyx coin thing and all the buzz. You said it's quite the stack of articles on it. Seems like you want to know more than just the price jumping up, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you want the full picture with Onyx Coin, not just what's happening, but why it matters.
Exactly. So let's get into it. Onyxcoin XCN. It's the token for the Onyx protocol. And the Onyx protocol is this platform where you can build all these decentralized financial services.
Think of it as like a set of tools for developers. They can build and launch all these DeFi apps, and also lets people get involved in, running the network, voting, and all that. Plus, they can use XCN for transactions too.
Oh, so it's got the two sides thing going on. Like you get to have a say and also actually use it for stuff. I saw one article called it a sleeping giant. Pretty bold. But, I mean, that price surge is wild, like, what, 800% in just 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's definitely turned some heads.
Yeah.
Especially since it's getting close to that 2-year high. And the trading volume, wow, over $1.5 billion daily. It's definitely got people's attention.
No kidding. So what's making this thing explode like this? Some articles were saying it's because big institutions are getting involved.
That's a big part of it for sure. You've got HTX Global, even Justin Sun dipping their toes in. I know those names can be, well, a little controversial sometimes, but it does get people talking, right? Adds a certain legitimacy for some folks.
I could see that, like when a big name comes in, others follow.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you can't forget about the upgrades they've made to the Onyx protocol itself. Transactions are faster now, fees are lower. Makes it way more appealing, not just for the developers, but for regular users too.
And better staking too, right? I read about that somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Better staking, that always gets the long-term holders excited. It's like all about that passive income these days, especially in DeFi. But let's be real, there's a psychological side to all this too. People see the price skyrocketing and they don't want to miss out.
That classic FOMO, huh?
Yeah, that fear of missing out. It's a real force in the crypto market. All that panic buying just pushes the price up even more.
It's a wild ride for sure. But with all this hype, there's got to be some concerns too. Like I've seen stuff about scalability and what about regulations? Can Onyxcoin actually handle all this growth and the legal stuff too?
Those are the million-dollar questions, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that'll determine if it lasts. Now, when it comes to regulations, Onyxcoin is decentralized, so it's harder for any one government to really control it. But the rules around DeFi, those are still changing all the time. Something to keep an eye on.
So for now, we just got to wait and see on that front. What about scaling, though? If everyone starts using this thing, can it handle all that traffic?
Well, that's where those upgrades we talked about come in. They've really focused on making things faster and more efficient. It needs to be able to handle more and more people using the network.
So they're working on it? Good to know. But look, let's get past the hype and all the tech stuff for a minute. What actually makes Onyxcoin different from all the other DeFi projects out there?
Well, one thing that really sets it apart is how they do lending. The Onyx protocol has these things called perpetual credit lines. And get this, no expiration dates. It's a totally different way of thinking about loans, very different from the traditional way.
So wait, so instead of like a fixed loan term, it's more like a credit card. You can borrow and repay whenever you need.
Exactly. You got it. It gives people so much more flexibility and control over their loans, especially those who, might have trouble getting a traditional loan.
I can see that being a big deal for a lot of people. And didn't I read something about using NFTs as collateral too?
Yep, that's another cool thing about Onyx. You can use your NFTs to get liquidity. It's like all of a sudden your NFT isn't just sitting there in your wallet, it can actually work for you.
That unlocks a ton of possibilities, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But hold on, this is all starting to sound a bit complicated. And I remember one article saying that you can't even buy Onyxcoin on like Binance yet.
That's right. It's not listed directly on Binance, but they do have a guide on their website. Shows you how to use a decentralized exchange, a DEX.
DX, got it. But those are a whole other beast, right? More risky, more complicated.
They do require a little more technical know-how for sure. But that's also part of what makes it decentralized, which is the whole point. We can dive into the whole DX thing later if you'd like.
Let's maybe circle back to that later. I think we've covered a lot of ground already. We've got a handle on the basics, the price craziness, what makes it unique in the DeFi world.
Yeah, and we've touched on the whole regulation and scaling thing. Got to keep those in mind always.
Definitely. But there's so much more to dig into, like this whole AI thing with Chain.ai. And what about it being open source? What does that even mean for the future of decentralized finance? Big questions.
Oh, yeah. It gets really fascinating from here on out, especially if you're thinking beyond just the quick price swings.
Yeah. We'll be back soon to explore those deeper layers of Onyxcoin. Don't go anywhere.
All right, so we're back and ready to get a little deeper into this Onyx coin thing. We talked about the basics, the price going crazy, even some of the challenges. But there's one thing that really stuck with me. It's this whole AI thing, specifically this chain.ai. It popped up in a few of those articles.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting part of the Onyx project for sure. So imagine this, right? You've got this super smart AI working in the background.
Yeah.
Constantly analyzing everything happening in the Onyx ecosystem, spotting trends, figuring out risks, even coming up with completely new financial products.
So it's like instead of relying on, just people making decisions, we've got this AI co-pilot navigating all the crazy stuff in DeFi.
You got it.
Sounds pretty cool, but honestly, a little freaky too. Like, are there any limits to what this chain.ai can do? That's the key question, right? AI has a ton of potential, don't get me wrong, but it's not magic. Chain.ai, it's only as good as the data you feed it. And sometimes AI algorithms can actually pick up biases from the data, which could lead to some unfair stuff happening.
So basically, they got to be really careful about how they train this chain.ai, make sure it's all transparent so people can trust it.
Yeah.
Are there any other downsides to using AI in this way, things we haven't thought of?
Yeah, one worry is that people might start relying on AI too much, and then what happens to human creativity and critical thinking, right? We got to remember, AI is just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways.
That's a good point. It's all about balance. Use the AI strengths, but keep humans in the loop. Make sure things stay ethical.
Right.
But okay, let's get back to the potential benefits of chain.ai within Onyx specifically. The articles mention stuff like auditing smart contracts, catching fraud, even giving personalized financial advice.
Yeah, those are just a few examples. So smart contracts, they're the backbone of all these DeFi apps. And making sure they're secure, that's crucial. AI can help spot vulnerabilities that, even the best human auditors might miss. And fraud detection, that's another area where AI shines. It can crunch through mountains of data, find suspicious activity way faster than a human could.
And that personalized financial advice thing, that's pretty cool, especially for people who are new to DeFi. It can be overwhelming.
Totally. It's like having your own personal financial advisor, except it's powered by AI, constantly learning and adapting. It can look at your risk tolerance, your goals, even your on-chain activity, and then boom, it gives you tailored investment strategies.
Makes DeFi a lot less intimidating for the average person. Now, one thing that stood out to me, this chain.ai isn't some separate thing. It's built right into the Onyx ecosystem. So if you hold XCN or you're part of the Onyx DAO, you get access to it.
Exactly, which adds a whole other layer of value to Onyx Coin. It's not just about voting or making transactions anymore. Holding XCN means you get to use this powerful AI tool too.
It's like a membership with exclusive benefits.
I like that, a membership. And it really gets at the heart of what Onyx is trying to do. Build this self-sustaining ecosystem where everyone benefits from its growth.
Very different from some of these other crypto projects out there.
The ones that are all about, pump and dump, quick profits.
Yeah, those get-rich-quick schemes.
Onyx seems to be playing the long game here, building something sustainable.
Sounds promising.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. There have got to be some potential downsides to all this AI stuff, right? We touched on the bias thing earlier. Anything else we should be aware of?
Well, yeah, like we said before, we got to be careful not to rely on AI too much. It's a tool, not a replacement for human judgment and all that. And then there's the technical side of things. Integrating AI into a decentralized platform, that's not easy. The Onyx team needs to make sure chain.ai is secure, reliable, and can handle a lot of users.
So lots of challenges ahead, but also a lot of potential. Okay, we've covered a lot about AI and Onyx Coin, the benefits, the risks, the implications for XCN holders. But let's zoom out for a second. What does all this mean for the future of decentralized finance as a whole?
That's the big question, isn't it? If Onyx can pull this off, if they can integrate AI successfully, it could change everything about how DeFi works. We might see a wave of AI-powered apps, making DeFi more secure, more user-friendly, unlocking all these possibilities we haven't even thought of yet.
Back when the internet was first starting out.
Exactly. Each new technology led to a burst of innovation.
So we could be on the verge of something similar with DeFi. AI and blockchain coming together, who knows what that'll lead to? Which brings us back to that big question. Is Onyx Coin a good investment? We've seen the good, the bad, the potential, the challenges. But at the end of the day, the decision is yours.
Absolutely. There's no right answer for everyone. You got to look at your own risk tolerance, your goals, how much you understand the tech, and then make your own informed decision.
But hopefully, what we've talked about today can help with that decision-making process.
That's the goal, right? To give people the information they need.
Exactly.
Because crypto, especially DeFi, It's still the Wild West out there. You got to be careful. Do your research.
No doubt. But that's what we do here at the Deep Dive. We try to make sense of it all.
We break down the complex stuff, look at it from different angles.
And hopefully give you the tools to make your own decisions.
Whether you decide to invest in Onyx Coin or not, that's up to you. But the things we've talked about today, they apply to all of DeFi.
The whole world of decentralized finance, it's fascinating.
It really is.
All right, well, we've covered a ton in this segment. We've explored this whole world of AI and what it could mean for Onyx and DeFi. But there's still one more piece of the puzzle.
Right, we got to talk about that open source thing, how that affects the future of XCN and all that.
And that's exactly what we're going to do in the next part of our deep dive. So stick around. All right, we're back for the last part of our Onyx Coin deep dive. We've talked about a lot, but there's one piece we haven't really dug into yet. That's the whole open source thing with the Onyx protocol.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting. The fact that anyone can contribute to developing Onyx, that's huge. It means you could have this global team of developers all working together, each one bringing their own skills to the table, pushing the limits of what's possible.
So instead of just one company calling the shots, it's more like a team effort, almost like a decentralized ecosystem, but for development.
Exactly. It's like tapping into the collective brain power of the entire community. Could lead to some really innovative solutions way faster than a single company could manage.
But doesn't that also make things a little, I don't know, unpredictable? What's to stop someone from just copying the whole protocol, making their own version of Onyx? Wouldn't that kind of, dilute the value of the original project?
That's a good point. Forks happen all the time in crypto. And Onyx Coin, it's not immune to that. But a fork, it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it can actually lead to some healthy competition, even more innovation.
So it's not necessarily a threat, more like Onyx evolving.
Exactly. Think of it as different branches growing out from the main tree. Some of those branches might lead nowhere, but others could uncover some really cool new stuff.
And in this whole scenario, the Onyx Coin community, they play a big role, right?
Huge role. They're the ones who decide which forks are worth pursuing, which features actually fit with the overall vision of the project.
They become like the gatekeepers, making sure things stay on track.
Yeah, and that active involvement from the community, that's crucial in an open source project. They guide the development not by, giving orders, but by reaching a consensus.
It's decision-making by the people, basically. But how does all this affect the future of XCN itself? Does being open source make the token more valuable, or does it make things more uncertain?
Honestly, it's probably a bit of both. If the Onyx protocol gets more popular because of all these developers contributing, then yeah, the demand for XCN could go up, more users, more transactions. That usually translates to a higher token price.
That part makes sense. But then there's the whole fork thing, where other versions of Onyx pop up.
Yeah.
That could bring the price down, right?
It could, but it really depends on how the community reacts. If they see a fork as valuable, something that adds to the ecosystem, then it could actually exist alongside the original Onyx, maybe even boost its value. But if the community thinks a fork is, harmful or unnecessary, it'll probably just fade away.
So it's like a survival of the fittest thing. Only the strongest versions of Onyx will make it.
Exactly. That's why understanding this open source aspect is so important for investors. You're not just investing in a company's plan, you're investing in the community's vision.
That's a pretty powerful way to think about it. So let's recap everything we've talked about today. We did a deep dive into Onyx Coin, looked at the good, the bad, the hype, what makes it different.
We talked tech, we talked market performance, we even went down the AI rabbit hole.
And of course, the whole open source philosophy, that's a big one. We even touched on the whole decentralized exchange thing, how to actually buy XCN.
It's not always easy, but it's getting better all the time.
The whole point is to make DeFi accessible for everyone, right?
Exactly.
And through it all, we've stressed how important it is to do your own research. Think critically. Understand that crypto, especially DeFi, it's constantly changing.
No crystal ball here, just informed speculation.
That's why we do what we do here at the Deep Dive. We give you the info, different perspectives, help you navigate this crazy world.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, hopefully you learned something today.
Exactly. Keep learning, stay curious, and most importantly, enjoy the ride. The future of finance, it's being built right now, and we're all a part of it.